I love philosophical questions. Questions like, do we have free will? My response to this question, though, is that I don't know. If there is an objective answer, then I don't know how I would access that. So I only have my subjective experience, and everything that I know is filtered through that. What I think is that free will exists on a spectrum from less to more. And some of us experience a life where it feels like we don't have very much. Others experience a life where it feels like we have a lot. But the beauty of this is we're very adaptive human beings. So we all tend to level out, and we all tend to gain a sense of baseline. So even if I have more than you, our experiences will probably feel internally quite similar, because we can get used to things even when they're very, very difficult, and we can be complacent and get used to things also when they're very, very good. So it's not about how much free will you have, and it's not about how much free will someone else has. The question really for you is, what would I have to do if I wanted to get more free will? And what would I have to do if I wanted to have less? To have more free will, you need to be willing to take ownership of your responses to things, because free will essentially is response flexibility. It's the ability to learn to change the way you act within a similar or the same set of circumstances. So that's what gives you the Neo X factor of kind of shaping your story or your hero's journey in the Matrix. Obviously, the circumstances are always shifting. They're never the same. You can never step in the same river twice. So can you know whether you've really learned, or is it just a new set of unconscious programming? Who knows? But if you can take responsibility for your actions, you will get more response ability, more response flexibility. The question to ask now is, do I really want that? And if I think I want that, what parts of me actually want to abnegate my free will because they're afraid of responsibility? Either because I've been scarred by responsibility in the past, burdened by a set of circumstances I didn't have the tools to deal with, or for some other shadowy reason. So, if you really want free will, understand the parts of yourself that maybe don't have a great relationship with ownership and with responsibility. And if possible, take measures to support yourself so that taking on responsibility, which is required to gain response flexibility, becomes more of a nourishing process for you. You have to go through the discomfort of realizing how limited you are if you want to gain free will. And this is the thing that not all of us realize, and this is why not all of us really gain more free will. If you were going to have a godlike level of control over your own life, you would also have to take a godlike level of responsibility for things which you might ordinarily want to think were someone else's fault. You would have to test every assumption insofar as you'd have to really make sure that things are out of your control, which means you'd have to try to control things that you can't. And that's a painful thing, but it's the only way you're going to find out where your control lies and where it doesn't. And it's the only way that you can then have a more efficient path towards free will. So I've tried to shift this question from something of a abstract, philosophical, imaginary debate to something that's more functional and helpful for you. A lived philosophy. And regardless of how much free will you have, you're only going to get more by taking responsibility. Responsibility is freedom. Discipline is the skill of learning to respond flexibly, learning by putting yourself in situations that challenge you again and again. So really there is no separation between this freedom you want, or this free will you want, or this godlike character that you want to build, and the boots on the ground work. I hope this has been helpful for you guys. Much love. Speak to you soon.